wonderful company, the warmth of this place. I just feel that here in the Philippines, people, hearts, this is a place of humanity. And I've been hearing about all your resilience. I've been hearing about how united people are. And yesterday I've had the benefit of looking at the history of the development of this country that we know as the Philippines. So it's really my privilege to be here to share with you a few things that I've learned along my journey. And hopefully we'll have a lot of exchanges today in the next 2 hours. An opportune time. This is an interesting time, but I'm also very proud to say that the Humanistic Buddhism Center in Australia and the NTI Institute has just celebrated its first 10 years. So I'd like to share with you the highlights of a particular video, a documentary video that we have made. So without further ado, I'd like to share with you that video. The Humanistic Buddhism Center is housed in the NTI Institute. And as such, we conduct our research with academic rigor and with especially in troubled times, and focus on service to the world.
Venerable Master Hsien Yun has described humanistic Buddhism in a very succinct way. It is what the Buddha taught. It is what is needed by people, what is true and beautiful, and what is purifying. So I guess in the Humanistic Buddhism Center, we try to find out what people need and also to meet them where they are.
It was an aspiration of a tiny center, but I think 10 years from now, we have reached some pretty good, impactful projects. We do projects like Buddhism in the Sea of Islands. And by Sea of Islands, we mean Australia, New Zealand, the Pacific Islands, all the way to Hawaii.
And in this project, we try to position humanistic Buddhism in academic discourse and to invite more academic interests in the subject of humanistic Buddhism.
We've also been running the Buddhism in Australia project.
This is really exciting work, gathering lots of new data, and really interesting outcomes are going to come from this, interesting insights into Buddhism in Australia. It's been here for such a long time.
We're building this digital atlas of Buddhism in Australia so that everyone can see this and watch it and enjoy it.
We also have the Humanistic Buddhism Special Interest Group, bringing together scholars and students who are interested to look at the academic side of humanistic Buddhism.
I couldn't not mention the really critical role that HBC played very early on in NTI's life. It's getting scholarly work, translations, and documentation out to a much wider audience, and in a way that brings with it academic credibility and rigor, which is so important as well.
The NTI Institute has progressed in terms of with the technology as well. That in itself speaks a lot about how well connected the Institute is with the changing trends and people and the community.
We are being out doing community outreach through weekly Sunday check-ins, also in communities of practice, and now moving on to the metaverses. We hope to be able to reach the world, to have built these communities of loving kindness, as well as encouraging a culture of care with the rigor of academics.
The Communities of Practice meets every Sunday. We go through both the theory and practice of humanistic Buddhism. Everyone's invited to bring their experiences, and we hope that they take the applications back to their families, back to their lives, and back to their workplaces. And I think if that's something you're interested in, humanistic Buddhism is something you should explore.
What I find in the values of humanistic Buddhism is ultimately our humanity, what it is that holds us together as people, and that humanity.
We support them in developing the values of humanistic Buddhism. They use those in their everyday life.
人间佛教的部分是最适合于我们这个时代的大家，
So what I hope is the HPC will be able to carry on the Venerable Master Xing Yun's vision to wake up the world, enlighten sentient beings, and then create a pure land on earth.
All right. Thank you very much, Venerable Juewei, for preparing such encouraging and inspiring video about NTI Institute. Are there any comments or questions or probably thoughts with regards to the video? Of course, we have our friend JJ on the side who will just go to you with a microphone. So this is a very relaxed afternoon. You're welcome to, ask questions or clarify or give us your thoughts. All right. And before anything else, though, I'd like to remind you that on your desks, we have here the scan here to access ebook and e-journal. If you want to take part in the digital atlas that was just mentioned in the video, so please feel free to scan the QR code, and then you'll be directed to the book entitled Cultivating Compassion, along with e-journal studies on humanistic Buddhism that NTI Institute of Humanistic Buddhism has been engaged in the last 10 years. Okay, so maybe the questions, if there are none, we could proceed. Venerable Juewei.
Thank you so much, Mage. We are a very, very small center. So small that there's no physical space. It's only me and my staff are virtual, mostly part-time, one in Adelaide, one in Melbourne, and another in Sydney. And I'm based in Wollongong. So thanks to technology, we're able to connect. I also work with other universities that, again, they're scattered everywhere else. So it shows that anything is possible if we have a will. So a much longer version, which is a 20-minute version of the highlight video that I show you, is available on this tiny URL. If you're interested, you can take a screenshot of it. Essentially, it's a 20-minute, more detailed exposition of how we have created who we are. And from here, I must say the whole journey is what I would call from aspiration to impact. And this is a book that's available for you to download. Again, it's a free PDF. And it really shows how the Venerable Master Xing Yun, my teacher, how he works. It's always an aspiration to serve all sentient beings. And it's from that aspiration that then we start step by step to create impact. It reminds me of what the true meaning of emptiness is in Buddhism. I don't know if you've heard this, but a core teaching of Buddhism is this term called emptiness, or in Chinese is called Kong. But emptiness does not mean nothingness. It actually is about boundlessness. It's about creative possibilities. It's about spaciousness. And it is from this unique interpretation of emptiness as possibilities, as creativity, that makes us fearless in the face of all the challenges that we may have to face in the world. And of course, a particular challenge that we are facing is the digital age. So, Buddhism in the digital age. You may say, we think of religion as being very contemplative, and especially humanistic Buddhism is about the human. Will humans then still have a role to play in the digital age? If I just look around here, I can see that most of you have a device somewhere, right? For all of us, maybe not even just one, probably several devices. So this is the world that we live in today. However, that's not unique. Some of us may think that we live in such a unique time of science and technology. But let me assure you, This has been the case. Humankind have often been very innovative. So we can start 6th century BCE. That's the time of the Buddha. That's also the axial age, or we call the axial age, where many sages were teaching, they were cultivating, and they have very interesting followers around the world. So during that time of the Buddha, he taught mainly by word of mouth. So it's oral tradition. So his disciples gather around him. So like all of us gathering around the Buddha. So we all gather around him and we listen very attentively. The good news is that during that time, people have very good memory. Yes, 2 hours later, we'll have a test. A post-panel test, and we'll see how many people pass. See, that's without referring to your notes, without referring to your recordings. But during that time, people have very, very good memory, and they could remember what the Buddha has taught them, and they could recite. And the way they do so is by memorizing and reciting and reciting. And that's how the teachings were transmitted from teacher to disciple and onwards, from generation to generation. Around the 1st century BCE, we invented writing. That was a major technology. And as a result of writing, we now start to don't have to remember everything. We can actually write it down. So you either carve it, write it. Initially, it was like on bamboo sheets. And then later on, it was like carved in rocks even. And sometimes, of course, later on, we have the invention of the printing press. And therefore everything, all the teachings of the Buddha were able to be spread from generation to generation and also around the world until today. Around the 20th century, IT comes along. And with digital technology, we start, first of all, having CD-ROMs. You remember those things, those round pieces? I think most of you are still in the era where we had CD-ROMs, and then we have USBs, and now we have the cloud. So basically, the digital world means that a lot of these teachings can be made available, and eventually you have Dharma at your fingertips. And let me assure you, many, many generations ago, it wasn't so simple. And that's the reason why usually in front of the sutras, we have this opening, the opening gatha or the opening verse that says the Dharma, infinitely profound and subtle, is rarely encountered even in 1,000,000 kalpas. People had to travel very far in order to search for the canon. Now we are able to hear, study, and follow it. May we fully realize the Tathagata's true meaning. And Tathagata is another word for the Buddha, is another name of the Buddha. Why is this so important? Because people want to know the truth. Don't you? The fact that you are here tells me you are interested in what is reality? Why are we here? You have some deep questions, and you have a love for wisdom. So people with a love for wisdom look for teachers, and they may have to travel for days, months, years. There was a teacher. I'm a fan of this teacher called Fa Xian. At the age of 60, he walked all the way across the land Silk Route to India, collected the teachings and took the maritime sea road back to China. And this was during the 4th century Common Era. It took him 16 years, 16. So he reached home in his late 60s. And it's translating and sending the teachings and giving those teachings to the world. So we all can do it. Now, faced with a very different problem with artificial intelligence. What's real and what's fake? That is a very different problem. And that's what I will talk about at the end of this session. Given that, then, my friends, perhaps it's time to invite some thoughts.
All right. So, by the way, there are over 60 people in the room, not to mention those who are live listening to us in YouTube, right? So, for those of you in YouTube, is there a way that they could ask questions? Maybe Kit can. Oh, comments. All right. And then you could just send it over to me. But what about from those in the room? If you have any thoughts about what has just been shared, how Buddhism has evolved over time, and how we are living on interesting times, still with the Dharma.
We've got a few questions on the screen for you. Okay, just first of all, how many of you find your day dominated by watching screen of some sort? Please raise your hands. Ta-da! Whoa, this is like 80 to 90%, Mitch, is that right? Wow, okay. So of these, let's find out. What are you watching? Just shout out. What are you watching?
Netflix,
Netflix.
Facebook.
Netflix. Oh, okay. What else? You have to be a bit louder because I'm hard of hearing. I'm over 60.
Someone just said mobile games.
What games?
Mobile games.
Mobile games. Oh, good.
Others?
YouTube, of course. What else? Facebook, Meta, TikTok, definitely. Insta, yes. What else?
What else?
Netflix, we've got that. I heard something else. What is it?
Reels.
What?
Yes.
Reels.
Yeah, short reels.
Oh, reels. Yes, yes. I'm feeling like I belong to the age of the dinosaurs. I don't know. Yes. And as you watch all these, are you multitasking or are you so dedicated on it? Multitask. How many multitaskers? Yeah. Do you think you're being very productive as a result? Then why do you do it? You feel like you're getting a lot done, right? This is called pretense. Yeah, why do you do that? Why? Have you thought of why you want to watch so much TikTok and Insta and do other things at the same time? It means it's not so important, right? So that's why you also do something else. But why then do you do this thing in front of the screen? Is it good for your eyes? Definitely not. Is it good for your back? No. Is it good for anything? Yeah, why? Here with his microphone, please.
Hi, I'm Dominic
Hi,
from
Dominic.
VPN Rizal. Well, according to a study, the reason why people have this split attention, especially the youth nowadays, is because of the short attention span. So because their attention span for one is very short, so they need to shift. It's kind of refreshing their attention, so they go back. That's a shift from one thing to another.
How about for you? What do you think you're rebooting?
Um,
Rebooting every 5 seconds?
For me, I'm not so much like that. I need to focus on one. And in terms of apps, it's mostly Microsoft Word and PDFs that I look at because I teach and I need to go through a lot of papers. So it's mostly that for me. So.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you, Dominic. Anybody else will share? Over there, back there. Yes, great. Good.
Good afternoon. I want to share from the point of view of an academician or an educator. That for me, if you would ask me, the digital learning life, it has a great impact on the values of young people. You see, they do not even know how to do household chores. When they see, that's the result of this study. I am a researcher by nature and I don't advise some students. That's the impact. And it has an impact also on the health. Why? Look at the young people today. Nowadays, at my age, you will not tell you a secret. Pag 70 plus, no? I never wear eyeglasses. I can drive even late in the evening because of this. This is what I did when I was there in Taiwan. I look around. They look for vegetables and things, no? That's why we need a break. You do not use your eyes the whole day. You need a break. So when I teach, okay, class, we have a break, 10 minutes, look around, look for something green. Look for green things. That's my perception. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now we'll invite somebody younger to come and defend your position.
Yeah, please state your name and your affiliation so we'll know.
But anyway, from my point of view, I'm a nurse. So we have why we spend time watching in the social media because of the dopamine effect. We are human. We are by nature voracious learner. So we're always hooked to learn. So that's why there's a dopamine effect. We're happy to learn. For the disadvantage and the advantage, we all know that it is more disadvantage for the interpersonal relationship. But then a lot of us are taking it as positive for work from home, and then we can do a lot of things without going to places. That's all.
Thank you. Good pros and cons. So we've got somebody representing the young. Is that Brian? Yeah, who wanted to say a few words? You raised your hand. Brian? Yes, you raised your hand.
Hello, good afternoon. So just to say a little bit of my generation, maybe it's because of we have seen a lot out of the world, the chaos, the politics and everything. So on my own perspective, I do it as a way of zoning out. And then zoning out, and the other way is that when I see different fields, I got a bits of micro learning. So that's what I get. That's my own perspective. Thank you.
Wonderful. Yes, representing the young generation.
I actually want to build up on this point about microlearning. We try to zone out for some reason, but deep inside, we try to still accumulate wisdom, but through microlearning, because that's how we can, that's how our short attention span can accommodate. Though technically it's not really very ideal because it's microlearning, but there's always this there's always this urge for us to satiate or satisfy our urge to know what comes next, but in a way that accommodates our short attention span.
So we've got to play with the times. So Mitch, shall we continue?
Yes, thank you so much for interacting with us. And of course, we're happy that people are still coming in. We're probably over 70 now. And so we continue, Venerable Juewei, with your next slide.
I know. Let's move into artificial intelligence. So in 20th century, we are mainly in a world, we start in this digital world, and come 21st century, it's going to be the age of AI. But actually, this term was coined in the 1950s by an American computer and cognitive scientist by the name of John McCarthy. The kind of AI that I was engaged in during my time when I was working in Singapore in an R&D lab is called expert systems. However, now what you deal with is quite different. Most of us are now dealing with what we call artificial narrow intelligence, which has to do with a very limited set of functions. So mainly the large language models, the ChatGPTs, the Claudes, the Perplexities that you are dealing with, those are large language models. Or you can have face recognition software. We have autonomous self-driving cars. And there's AI embedded now in all your laptops, your mobile phones. So those are all narrow, we call them narrow intelligences. But the various labs now are creating what's known as artificial general intelligence. And artificial general intelligence usually is what's called human level AI. So it's a type of AI that apparently will match or surpass even human capabilities. So it can deal with a lot more breadth and also can be very proficient. Now, this artificial general intelligence is still in the labs. There's so much prediction about when they will be really released. So some people say the 2040s, some people say next year. So, however, what we do know, many big companies are putting in lots of money. And I have to warn you of the dark side of AI. It's not only money, it's clean water. So much fresh water got to go into powering these chips. It's the quantum computers. It's the need of all these ecological resources out there. So every prompt that you key in, my friends, be responsible. Make sure it's giving you a lot more than you're getting back. So artificial superintelligence, it's supposed to be even stronger than artificial general intelligence. It surpasses human capabilities. So if you think of it, artificial narrow intelligence, only one side, right? One narrow band of human intelligence. General intelligence, general. Okay, most of human capabilities. Superintelligence beyond human intelligence. And that's now made possible because of the various supercomputer hardware. So look at this particular picture here. Artificial narrow intelligence, artificial general intelligence, and artificial superintelligence. This particular drawing is made by an artist. I don't know why it's getting ahead of me, but it's an artist from Melbourne. This particular artist is called Huang Huijuan. And Huang Huijuan has a PhD in architecture, but she's a great artist. And she's very much of a Zen Chan practitioner. So she draws this, you see on the side, a little corner, a snail. Snail crawls, right? Very slow. So we got this snail looking and crawling towards what? Light. So the light bulb. But what do you see on the light bulb? We call her a bodhisattva or an awakening being or a sage. Right. So what is this sage? So what is depicting here is how people, on all sentient beings, really, all sentient beings go towards light. We go towards wisdom. Now, you talk about micro-learning, right? Both of you talk about micro-learning. And earlier on, we talked about going into learning more knowledge. That's why it's good. AI is good. You gain access to knowledge. However, what is that knowledge doing to us? So we want the type of knowledge that gives us wisdom, that helps us to live a better life. And that's the sagely teachings. So if AI helps me to gain access to enlightening wisdom, it's worth it. It's worth all that time that you spend. But if it's only teaching me how to be lazy, it's only teaching me all the fun, sensuous stuff, is it any use? No. So who makes that choice? Ourselves. We have to be responsible. We have to be ethically responsible. So in Buddhism, what is Buddhism? Buddhism is a set of teachings, a set of sayings that help us to awaken ourselves, to wake up. What does it mean? Most of us are sleeping. We are daydreaming. We are just having a good time, meandering through life. We would like to wake up, but not just wake ourselves up. Like the many professors and educators in the room, we also want to wake up others. And even those of us who are not working in the teaching profession, it's also about waking others who are related to us, our family members. Everything we do has an impact. And what we hope for is perfect awakening and practice. That means both theory and practice, that we can be more and more perfect in what we do. That means doing less harm to the world and doing more good to the world. So that's the meaning of Buddha's teachings. And we hope that if we go for these AI applications, social media applications, that's not that they're very wrong. I'll talk about what their problems are later, but we have a choice. Don't give up that power, my friends. We have power. We do not need to follow the algorithms. We have a choice, and we'll come back to the choice in a little while. All right, time for a little bit of question to you. You've mentioned some negative effects or stressors living in this technologically advancing world. So how do you feel about the way you use AI, social media, and screens? Do you find your own personal well-being? Okay, I know the parents in the room are seeing all their children suffer, but what about yourself? You as a user, do you find yourself being negatively impacted, especially your attention? Yes, no? Ambivalent? Yeah? Yes, so we've got, you want to share a few words here? There's a microphone coming for people online.
Hello, good afternoon. So I guess for me it's ambivalence because I did grow up without AI. So I did, I studied without AI. But now in work, I see a lot of people embracing AI as part of their daily lives uh, to do more efficiently. So, for example, the email that would take me an hour to compose, for others, it's just a few seconds. And they could make reports easily, all those outlines easily. So it's efficient. And they could do more work that could be allotted for other things as well. Like they do other chores or they do more tasks or they do, like fill their day. But for me, I did, to be honest, I was like a late adopter, somewhat a late adopter of the technology. And also, but you're also like encouraged to join that kind of adoption because if you don't have AI skills or you don't get work or you don't get, like it's now part of the requirements or the skills in, for example, research work or teaching work. So those you feel that kind of ambivalence that oh things can be done without it, but you have to adapt to the times as well. And also just thinking that you've mentioned earlier about the environmental or ecological costs of each prompt. And sometimes, you have to, sometimes like if you have a task, you have multiple ecological, you have multiple prompts and you cannot, there's still it's the ecological cost, it's still very abstract. Like you know it, but it's just a concept. Like you wish like you could see and actually visualize that, there's really water going down, but since it's so abstract, we cannot really fully imagine that ecological cause that's happening. So those things, sorry for rambling, but that's just my state of ambivalence about it.
Yeah, that's so true. You know, that's the problem, isn't it? We don't see many things that are happening around us. It's not just the AI prompts. There's so many other things happening around us we're just not aware of. But it's like the butterfly effect. There's so much rippling out there. And what we are hoping to lead a more awakened life is to see all these causes and effects and the implications. Thank you. Any other comments? Yes, right here. And then we've got one more hand in the back. Thank you.
Thank you. With so many things appearing on social media, it mirrors back for me to be aware of my emotions. Do I am moved with anger, worry, and sadness? Or am I being moved for compassion and peace? So I view them actually as neutral, though at times when I'm not mindful and aware, it triggers a lot and it's like an automatic response, but I have to pause and then check myself. What emotions does it bring? Did it bring out of me? So
Wow, that's awakened, a very awakened moment to be able to do that. So we've got two hands and then we'll come over to this side. Jingcha, I hope you are watching all the hands.
There is always a negative effect, given the world today. And so I don't know, it's a challenge on my part. I challenge, they can manipulate way, for example. But your third person, when you first experience, you don't emotionally. Like, nobody can do that. No, I did accept the wrong stuff. But everybody has a challenge, and always remember that we human beings, we feel good, we do good, we speak good, because we are not artificial. We are not artificial. We are natural. But we cannot accept, we cannot just avoid what is going on in our world today. Because we have to remember that. And artificial things like this, like this, avoid using plastic, plastic, otherwise you really will be on plastic balls. Okay. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, that's why it's called artificial intelligence. So you have to always remember. There was a hand up here. Yes.
Yes, from Nabotas po, ma'am. So, Sir Cesar Salbami Jr. from SDO Nabotas. So, for me as a teacher, one of the negative effects of technology, because everyone wants to have an to receive instant response. In education, we have what we call the technology is what we call values are caught but not taught. So it means the learners can learn through experiences. They're very open. They're more exposed in sex and violence. There's no although in the Philippines we have our government have some filter in those websites, but still there are learners who are more exposed to and have an access to those dangerous websites. So aside from they're exposed, they become more lazy. We gave them assignment, they just use ChatGPT and they just make they just tweak some words to make it more personalized. But as a teacher, the advantage is we can provide feedback to our learners in real time. But for me, one of the challenge is it really coming, the answer is it really coming from the students, or they just use the technology to give the answers, or to perform or to do the task in school?
Thank you. I think this is the plague of all educators now, but it's also is forcing educators to upgrade. There's like a tectonic shift, plate tectonics taking place in all sectors as a result. So we have someone here, and then we'll come to you.
Perspective. You won't easily say that someone is lazy because of AI, but someone is smart because that person is able to find the necessary information at the previous moment possible because of AI. And then value because what do you really value? I mean, we're human beings, we are rational beings. So AI is just a tool. Values are values, they never change. So whatever you value most in your life, that becomes the basis of how you use AI. If you value compassion, if you value equality and respect, you won't share something contradictory to that. So AI is fun. We use it.
Thank you for sharing your perspective of using AI as a tool. So we've got a hand here in front, and then over there, and here. So right here in front. So 1, 2, 3, and then we'll have to stop.
And also in front here, yeah, there's a microphone coming behind.
Yes, and academic. Yeah, I think it's a challenge for us. That's really a challenge where we have to instill in students the value of learning, like learning without, with that much assistance, but rather really cultivating the rigor actually that comes to learning. It's an extra challenge for us to teach the ethics of how to use AI. Because AI is here, it's here and it's here to stay. It's going to go bigger in the next coming years. So it's teaching the students how to, so we have, as educators, we have to be on our toes. We also have to be updated. We also have to be aware. I feel that it's quite futile nowadays to be anti-AI because it's already here. So what's the point of going against it? So it's already here. So it's just teaching our students to on how to navigate through it and how to use it more ethically. And also because I'm also a therapist, I feel that when I do therapy and meditation, just the I as a replacement to the therapist. And I'm actually doing a paper on that. I'm writing a paper on it. I sometimes feel that, and it makes me what he said, that you always have to do a check-in. You don't want to be that therapist who's always stressed and in competition with AI, because some of the clients actually, one of the conversations I had with my patient, he said that AI knows him. Because as you keep on asking questions, it remembers, it creates that algorithm and the answers that we tailored for that. But as the therapist, you always have to go back to that. AI cannot provide that care, that human touch, that connection, that interpersonal connection. So it's actually, it always grounds me in where you have to, you don't need to compete because you have something unique in you, which is that humanity. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to say AI appears to know you. The way large language models work is that they work by predicting the next word. So all it is that in this large data set, the next word that comes out is the most probable word. And most of us are just like everybody else. It's a normal curve. right? So even in the extremes, it's unlikely to know you very well because it won't know how to answer your questions. So your prompts have to fall within that normal band in order for you to get a good answer. And do we all fall in that band? Unlikely, because most of the data is tested and created with a certain population. And that population is not us. All right, we've
All
got
right.
one. I think we've got
I think there's two more.
two more, and that's it. So yes.
Hello? Okay.
So, are there any negative effects? As a student, yes, there is, but this still have advantages for me. In the use of AI as a student, sometimes I use AI for just outlining it with my homework. And with the use of AI, it is good to use in ethical way because in our school we practice mindfulness and the AI is not negative at all. Sometimes it is because some students is there, they are complacent because there's AI who can help their homework like that, but the skills of students can easily fade away because of the AI. So as a student, I use AI in a little way and be knowledgeable enough on how to use it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's always lovely to hear how you've been using AI. So there's one last.
One last, ma'am.
My name is Linda. I studied medicine in USP in 1970. And then I studied theology in 2014, 2015. There was no ChatGPT at those times. So we read a lot of books, we immerse ourselves in this situation. But now I'm just amazed how wonderful it is. I mean, I read, like for example, today, there is a Sunday school tomorrow. So the Revised Common Dictionary tells me that it's Matthew 2, 10 to 18. So I want to find out what AI, what ChatGPT, particularly Gemini that I use, my husband uses Copilot. What is it? How can I teach the children, the youth, the adult choir, the adult different levels? This particular lesson, I read it before I share it because I have that background, so I know it. But I am just amazed how they are able to articulate ideas which I have learned also in the past. So for me, it's helpful also. But I don't completely rely on it because, but then I think that this AI is following me because everything that it says is something progressive, so I think a bit, like for example, my husband, are you satisfied? This was from your previous thinking. We asked about suicide, and then the AI was so scared that he was thinking about committing suicide. I think something like this, but I'm just amazed. I will not discard it as an important tool. I want to use it, but my experience of just being like today, even as 77, I tell my friends, I was with my family reunion, then I was with the Manila Ecumenical Church people, fellowship, then I have, then I am attending this lecture in Humanistic Buddhism, so the world knows that even at 77, I'm alive and using all of
Yay! Yeah, growing with times. But you use your wisdom to verify what AI gives you, and you will continue to do so and build on your knowledge. This is micro learning, but also at the same time, constantly building up. If you don't mind, I'm going to move on. Is that okay?
Yes.
I know you have more to add. There will be opportunities along the way, so let's keep going. So what has Buddhism got to offer? A few of you have mentioned this, mindfulness. Mindfulness is an extremely important practice in Buddhism. And mindfulness is not only sitting on a cushion in meditation. Right mindfulness essentially is anything that helps us to focus, but it is for a particular purpose. So there's mindfulness and right mindfulness. Right mindfulness is to help us with liberation from suffering. Most religions are the same. So most religions offer us a path out of suffering. So recognizing that there is pain in whatever we are doing, recognizing discomfort, that is the motivation for us to seek a religious path or an exit path. So how can mindfulness help us navigate that digital world? Some of you have already mentioned how you pause and recalibrate whatever you're doing, asking the right questions. Why is it important? It is important because of this concept that you have mentioned many times, and that is attention. What happens is that I may have an intention to do good, but if I do not have enough attention, that intention may just go to waste, isn't it? I always want to intend to do good. Many people come to retreats at Nantian Temple. They do retreats. They feel completely relaxed and fresh. They go back into the working world, and within a day, they're back to their normal self. The self that they were in before they came in to the retreat. Why is that so? They couldn't hold that attention in order to continue with the intention to do good, that intention to be patient. So we have to be careful about that, because what we place our attention on is what we repeat. And you all know, right? Whatever you repeat becomes a habit. And whatever that is your habit, okay, will eventually become your personality and who you are. Therefore, what's important? Attention. Why is it so hard to hold your attention? Because right now, behind all these devices, behind all these apps, is a battalion of psychologists. It's a battalion of marketeers. Your attention is now their commodity. Attention has become commodified. And what AI and social media and all these companies are doing is that they are trying to make a business out of your attention. No matter how micro, as long as you click in and you buy, they make money. Or you click in, they get advertisement income. Or you click in and you make a vote. You're swinging votes as a result. So why are companies investing so much to make the response to your prompt sound so persuasive? To sound like exactly what you want to hear. You think it's smart, it's actually just repeating what you want. There's a term in Buddhism called karma. Have you heard of it? Yeah, karma. Cause and effect. Right? That's karma. So you do something and then you get an effect. Now, a lot of people say they don't believe in karma because they don't see the effect. So in the past, we thought, oh, it takes lifetimes. So past, you do something, now you in this present life, because in Buddhism, we believe in rebirth. So in this present life, you will see the effect. And if you do something bad, you're going to suffer in the future, whether you go to hell or become an animal or become a hungry ghost. Now, no need. Now we have something called karmic accelerator. It's called AI. Whatever you feed it, immediately it comes back to you. So everything is so persuasive. It sounds so real. It sounds like you. It sounds like exactly what you want. Why? You got cookies on your phone. Those Inedible cookies are tracking everything you love. Every like, every notification, every site you visit. Oh my goodness, somebody is tracking. That's why somebody apparently went to the supermarket and bought some strawberries. By the time she reached home, she got a pop-up that says, hey, this is something that's really good for washing strawberries. Somebody is tracking everything you do. What's that called? AI. Very smart intelligence. But it's artificial, like some of you have pointed out. It is artificial. Why? It's algorithmic. Okay, and there are people who are capitalizing on your attention. Therefore, I'm working with a group of researchers around the world to develop what we call Buddhist-inspired attention ecology. We need now, because it's systemic, this entire attention economy is system, is a whole system. You can't compete as a lone consumer. You will lose the battle. But if we come together in a community and we build an ecosystem so that we bring our attention back, we know what these apps are doing, we choose what we want. And we invest our attention. So now, because it's a commodity, you have to invest it, right? So instead of investing your dollars, you're investing your attention. You invest in what will bring the maximum benefit to all sentient beings. And you come together in communities, like here in Babohai Temple, with people who want to do things that are good. And you put your attention there. Now that is karmic acceleration. You feed out something kind, 10 times, tenfold kindness will come back to you 10 times faster. Right? And that's independent of religion, that's independent of what we eat, it's independent of our background, kindness, goodness. That is the kind of karmic acceleration that we would like to do. So we know that we are very interconnected. Wisdom, ethics, attention, all these are practices. What does practice mean? It's like going to a gym. You got to keep going. Go one time, you build up muscles, and then it's lost. So gym, you have to keep going, like learning a skill like swimming, same thing. So the same thing with attention. You have to keep practicing, regaining your attention. So at Nantian Institute, we are trying to promote the concept of metta-versus. So metta is a Pali word that means kindness, loving kindness. Versus means multiverses, so communities. So communities of kindness. Okay, so we practice kindness. And every Sunday at our time 11, so it will be 8 a.m. or it could be 9 a.m. when we don't have daylight savings, Sunday check-in sessions. And this is an opportunity for many people to come together. We started during COVID and we've not ended. So every Sunday we've been on. We've just passed our 250th community of practice session where people from around the world, including many people from the Philippines, come on board to join us at the early Sunday hour. So I welcome you too. We've got cards, you've got the QR code that you can go into, and you're welcome to join this community where we develop the habit of a pause. Learning to pause before we progress again for the rest of the week. So with this, I'd like to just quickly reflect on some of the lessons I've learned at a recent symposium that Mage and I were in, the 11th Symposium on Humanistic Buddhism in Kaohsiung, Taiwan, in the Foguangshan headquarters. So our most venerable Shinpa is the chief abbot of Foguangshan International. He said that we should develop our own inner artificial intelligence. And one of the keynote speakers, or one of the opening ceremony speakers, used the term BI, is our AI, BI, Buddha intelligence. And what is this Buddha intelligence? We believe that every one of us have the Buddha nature of wisdom, of clarity, of insight. It's inside. So we have inner AI. And in Buddhism, we believe in cause and effect. So therefore, whether it's AI or whether it's Buddhist teachings, they're just products of causes and conditions. However, some of you have pointed out earlier, AI cannot replace my experience. So therefore, as practitioners of whatever faith we are, we have to walk the path. Students, too, you have to grow. And us, those of us who are educators, it's our job to help our students grow beyond knowledge. How do we grow as a whole person? I feel that the learning outcomes in the various universities are going to change to be more values oriented, because knowledge, you can do it from AI. But we later on I'll talk about how even then we need to learn to differentiate between true and fake knowledge. So therefore, developing the right view is so important, having the right world view. Professor B. Scherer from Europe, he said, he cautioned us against this technological utopia. We think that technology can do everything. They're trying to find a technological or scientific remedy for every ailment, but unfortunately limited. So therefore, he calls upon humanistic Buddhism to develop the true compassionate AI that's grounded in our human cultivation of moral maturity and of collective ethical responsibility. So those of you who will be or who are AI developers, or those of you who are involved in data selection in the back end, please develop this with care, with restraint, and with aspiration for the better. A particular Venerable Juewei, whom I know has come here several times, she's seeing a shift in the human skill sets that are necessary now. So as educators, we have to be mindful that what we train our students in, as the skills that they learn will have to last in this shifting paradigm. Therefore, for example, in the past, we need volunteers to help with data entry. Now you don't need data all entered already in the big database. But now what we need, domain experts. So it's experts that's important. We need curators, no longer just translators. And now, instead of, in the past, you need coders. All you need to do now is to give the right prompts. AI can code for you. How do you prompt is what's important. And then you run the prompts and you test it out and you change your prompts. So it's prompt engineering that's important. Skill sets are shifting. So educators in the room, be mindful. I'm going to share with you what I presented about us as educators and how humanistic values plays a role. But before that, I'd like to just invite you to check in with me. We've had about 60, 100 minutes together. I'd like to ask for your permission to have a contemplative moment with me. Will that be okay? Taking a pause. Is everybody willing to do that? What it means is that you have to give up the device for a few minutes. Is that okay? All right. We are in a very, very safe space. So I'd like to invite you to just sit upright, sit comfortably. And because you're in a safe space, you may close your eyes. If you're comfortable, to close your eyes and listen to my voice as I take you through a poem called The Breath is Life's Teacher by Donna Martin. Observe me, says the breath, and learn to live effortlessly in the present moment. Feel me, says the breath, and feel the ebb and flow of life. Allow me, says the breath, and I will sustain and nourish you, filling you with energy and cleansing you of tension and fatigue. Move with me, says the breath, and I will invite your soul to dance. Make sounds with me, and I shall teach your soul to sing. Follow me, says the breath, and I will lead you out to the farthest reaches of the universe and inward to the deepest parts of your inner world. Notice, says the breath, that I am as valuable to you coming or going. That every part of my cycle is as necessary as another. That after I am released, I return again and again. That even after a long pause, moments when nothing seems to happen, eventually I am there. Each time I come, says the breath, I am a gift from life. And yet you release me without regret, without suffering, without fear. Notice how you take me in, invites the breath. Is it with joy, with gratitude? Do you take me in fully? Invite me into all the inner spaces of your home. Let's take a few moments now to cherish our nourishing breath. Your attitude to me, says the breath, is your attitude to life. Welcome me, embrace me fully. Let me nourish you completely. Then set me free. Move with me, dance with me, sing with me, sigh with me, love me, trust me. Don't try to control me. Thank you, everyone, for taking this moment to pause. When you're ready, you may open your eyes and return to the present. How do you feel? Do you feel more grounded now? The breath by Donna Martin. I invite you to read her full poem. I've only read a short excerpt, about half of it. But I think what it reminds me of is the importance of the breath in building up our life and how we often take it for granted. But it's always here with us. So whenever you feel like you're lost in social media, whenever you feel you're lost in terms of whatever assessments you have, come back to your breath. It's always there. And how we treat our breath is how we treat our life. So let me just quickly share with you the fact that I believe we are now in a liminal time. This liminal period means that something is, well, the old order of capitalism is all breaking at the fringes. And it may implode. In fact, I think it will. But a new world order hasn't started. So we live in these interesting times, and some things are happening, we don't know what. But Emile Durkheim, a very famous sociologist, the father of sociology really, said that we live in what is known as creative effervescence. We have an opportunity now, wherever we are, at the fringes, to create something new. And that is our Nantian Institute approach towards AI. We believe that we need to teach our students on academic integrity and AI as part of our accreditation. And we engage with AI in various ways. But at the same time, in the graduate certificate in Humanistic Buddhism, we believe that we play three important roles. We hope that our students can learn to be custodians of the truth. That they have an opportunity to be able to differentiate between what is really the teachings of the sages and what is fake. We also hope that our students will become the modelers of their practice, whatever the religion, because AI is at the moment, they may appear like they have a lot of knowledge. So it's like going to a class, learning how to swim. The swimming instructor gives you all the theory. Do you really know how to swim? Not until you jump into the pool and really try and discover what it's like to sink. Until you really feel the water going into your nose and your eyes. Then you know how to start to put the theory into practice. And maybe for a start, we're not so good, we're only novices, and then we get better and better until one day we become Olympic swimmers. So we can become modelers of practice by practicing ourselves. So we talk about compassion. We need to be kind and compassionate, to be patient, to listen, to deeply listen. Then what I believe is going to happen is that we are now encouraging everyone to get away from their mobile phones sometimes and be in communities. I think here in the Philippines are pretty good. We are very, very community-based. And when we're in communities together, these communities can still be isolated. Therefore, the importance of interfaith, the importance of associations, of many different gatherings. So here, I just returned on Christmas Day in Fo-Guangshan. We have a big event where some of our friends, even from the Philippines, were there, called When Buddha Meets the Gods. So the various gods come together in fellowship. If the gods can come together, so can we. So therefore, let's be those bridge builders. But to be bridge builders, we need certain skills, the ability to communicate, the ability to listen. So this was what I think, that higher education, especially religious education, I think like what the Pope, I think it's Pope Liu who said that we should be the laboratory of hope. That he says, he urges the Catholic universities to be great laboratories of hope in his Antiqua et Nova. Then I also believe, of course, as I said, that we could co-create a flourishing AI, a flourishing Pure Land, where AI is also a member, but it's not the dictator. So educators, all of us have that responsibility to help co-create this future where technology can support our flourishing. So perhaps a short round of comments.
Any thoughts and comments? Thank you, Venerable Juewei, for walking us through the entrapments of AI and what we can do not to be overwhelmed by all the AI entrapments. Any thoughts, clarifications, questions? Yes, sir. Thank you.
Sorry, I think we have more time than I thought because that clock is probably.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you so much for your presentation. I am impressed by the way humanistic Buddhism has responded to the challenge of artificial intelligence. I have yet to know what Christians are doing in response to AI. And in your case, you have developed, you even have outlined some of the things that you can do in order to grapple or to meet the challenge of artificial intelligence. Yeah, it's there. It's a fantastic tool, but really it has to be mastered. It has got to be controlled in a way that it doesn't rule our lives, that it doesn't control the way we define our future. It should be able to help us. I was interested that there is something about conflict, how to deal with conflicts and how to communicate in interfaith dialogues. I mean, this is something fantastic. That's why when I learned from my friend Patrick that this thing was going to come, I said, we have to be there. We have to. In fact, I had to cancel an appointment just to be able to come here. And so thank you, ma'am. And I wish we had a copy of the proceedings. Yes.
Yes.
We have of the PowerPoints. That would be great.
Yes.
Thank you once again, Professor. And
Thank you. Thank
yes,
you.
yes, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, the temple has a copy of the PowerPoint. We can give out the PDF version to everyone. That'd be really good. I must say that I'll come, if you don't mind, I'll just say a few words of response first. One of the things that I'm doing is I'm working with a group of researchers and practitioners from around the world, a small group. We're developing a Buddhist response to the United Nations Working Group on Global Data Governance. And they're saying anybody can come and respond. So we say, yes, we must bring in a Buddhist response. So this is one of the things we're doing right now. And we will have the response into the working group by the end of January. We have submitted our abstracts and they have accepted it. So although we are a very little known, little humanistic Buddhism center, but what we hope to do, borrowing from the Venerable Master, is that there's boundless things that we can do, boundless. And we have to respond to some of the crises that are taking place, one of which is data. You know that every click, and you know how you do your walks every day and it's Apple Watch is measuring how many steps you take, and then your heart rate and everything. Who owns that data? Apple, not you. All your data is equivalent to what? Your fingerprint. Because it identifies you, it's everything about you. And guess what? They don't belong to you. Read the fine print. You know, every time you buy any device, they very nicely tell you this is our policy, these are the terms, rules, and conditions in there. And of course, it's like pages long, right? Who will read them all? You just want to install it, quickly run with it. But if you read everything, you will notice something that gives up your right to your data. And this is something that's very dangerous. Where is that data going? Into those LLMs, into the machines. Those supercomputers are eating up our data. And then where will it go? Does it come back to serve us or to hurt us? I don't know. Sometimes we really don't know. These surveillance technologies and everything. Does it go and then one day I walk through the gate and it says I'm a prisoner, I'm a criminal? You don't know because all that data goes in. You know, everybody will know where we are. What privacy? Says in inverted commas only. So we are putting in a Buddhist response that this shouldn't be the case. It shouldn't be privatized. But AI can do a lot of things that are maybe good for us. And it's these collectives that should be making the call for what the data can be used for. So anyway, everything has pros and cons. I just want to caution everyone that everything that you do, know the implications. It's getting to be an interlocking world, a lot more complex than what it used to be. Yes, sir, I'm sorry.
Master Shi, I am very amazed by this gathering. And I thought it's only about Buddhism, but it encompasses everything that the gentleman has asked about. It just so happened that I also came from during Christmas. I went to Manila Cathedral because I want to see the organ renovated 100 million peso. So what is it about the flood control? But coming back, I've been nurtured by 佛广山 and 非常感谢法师过来从欧洲 and it's very this continuing technology should be managed by people who love and preserve. 佛光山 has always done that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Any other insights? Okay, so we've got 2 here.
And then we have one over here as well.
So we have artificial so what comes next? 5 years from now, will we have realistic evidence?
Everything is coming from our collective consciousness. It really is what we have in our head. The reason why I'm promoting metaverses is that I'm hoping we will collectively have a lot of kindness. If all of us can focus on kindness and create a kind world, a kinder world. I'm not worried about whatever technology it is, because that technology will only help us be kinder. I'm less worried about technology. I'm more concerned about our values and who we are as a human species. Are we going to live behind a world that's in deficit for our children? Or are we going to leave behind a world that's in surplus for our children? the planetary boundaries. Apparently, we have already there are like 9 planetary boundaries, and we have crossed for 7 of these. It's so dangerous, unsustainable. My dear friends, it's really up to us. Can we continue to throw out kindness and keep our attention, our intention, and not let that be trafficked by these commercial gains? All right, we've got 2 minutes up here. Yes, please.
Okay, hello. Good afternoon again. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's still survival of the fittest. And with AI as a tool, we need to learn and upskill ourselves in order for us to, like what they said, master this tool. And I'm really glad because seeing a lot of people from different age groups in this hall right now, it means that each one of us here, we're all taking part of learning more. And thank you, Venerable Juewei, for coming to the Philippines to talk about this AI and for helping us more to master this tool. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And may this intergenerational conversation continue beyond today. So one more.
I think you earlier mentioned that what we actually have to develop is time. And I think earlier you mentioned that we need to cultivate human morality because only when that is how we judge, right? And how we view whatever or how to cultivate our approaches to AI. But the question is, how do you cultivate human morality? I mean, we have had years, thousands of years of Buddhism, of Catholicism, but we still have, right now on the Philippines, you have a problem about corruption. So how is that developed? How do we cultivate? What do we do to contribute? Because my understanding here is more than contributing to understanding AI, we need to contribute to the cultivation of human morality.
Definitely. Thank you so much for that question. It may be a good segue into the next part because I believe in education. As an educator, I think education is the key. It is our way of, and education is not only for the young. Education is for any age group. All of us can educate ourselves, we can grow. Nantian Institute, my home in Australia, is what I call the best kept secret in the world. How many of you have heard of Nantian Institute? A few? Yay, thank you. It's not so secretive here in the Philippines. Thanks to the alumni and our students. But Nantian Institute is special. And I'm going to share with you why. And some of the subjects that we teach may answer your question earlier about how we can bring about a change. It's like, but before I get there, I want to answer your question directly in terms of how cogwheels work. I am a tiny cogwheel. So I believe in turning in a particular direction. Now, if I have a few tiny cogwheels that turn in the same direction and we are connected, together we can turn a medium cogwheel, right? In the same direction. And when we have a few medium cogwheels turning in a particular direction, we can turn a big cogwheel. Philippines was not corrupted, several decades ago. Right, I looked at the history. It was not always like that. Something happened. And then the politics and whatever, the system built up. That's emptiness. It means that by certain causes and conditions, the cogwheel turned in that direction. If we have a few tiny cogwheels that work hard to turn in the opposite direction, and these tiny cogwheels turn another medium cogwheel, slowly it will turn in the other direction. It's just like AI, right? Pre-2020, what, 3? But yeah, 2022, who knows about ChatGPT? And then in 3 years, here we are. We are saying no choice. We all have to go for AI, whatever age. Things will change if we put our mind to it. So, Nantian Institute. I think Nantian Institute is rather different. This is my colleague, Dr. Elizabeth McDougall, and she, like many of us, believe in our students. So we call student-centered education, which very many universities talk about. But I think what's special about us is that we truly want to bring the heart and our head together. So it's a contemplative pedagogical training where we have critical thinking of the head, but that's not enough. We want to take that knowledge and go on that inner journey. And that's where the morality part comes in. Your question about morality, unless it touches the heart, morality is just a matter of words, right? So we have classes that help us to reflect on what it means to not kill or to not lie and actually experience it, reflect on it. I must say that we are very proud now that last year our students voted us out of 58 private higher education institutions that are non-university status, we ranked number 2. And for a tiny institution to get that kind of endorsement from students, it really comes from the fact that students find this unique balance between head and heart. So we teach applied Buddhist studies, we teach humanistic Buddhism and the Buddhism side, and we also have health and social well-being and mental health on the health side. And recently we've started a graduate certificate in applied mindfulness. Our classes are 10 weeks long, so they are pretty concentrated, and we allow for both online as well as on-site studies. So for those of you who would prefer to stay in your workplace or to stay in the Philippines, you can join us online. The time zone difference is not too much. As you can see, that's our classroom, but you're also welcome to fly to us like Dr. Cecil Manikan did for this Buddhism and Modern Society subject and meet other friends online. But if you do want to come, our campus is beautiful. We call it a learning lotus. In particular, I'd like to just share with you the graduate certificate in humanistic Buddhism, whereby we have 2 core subjects, one on theory, the foundational texts, and one on practice, which is on professional engagement. And we have 7 very interesting electives from which you can choose 2. And at this point, maybe Dr. Cecil Manikan would like to say a few words about some of the subjects that she has taken.
Thank you, Venerable Juewei, and thank you, Mage, and thank you all for coming over. Some of the people here are close friends of mine, so welcome. I studied at Nantian because when I attended the 2018 Humanistic Buddhism Symposium in Taiwan, I watched all the presidents of the different universities. You know, this Fok Wang has 5 universities worldwide, and Nantian was one of them. And Venerable Juewei presented the strategic response of NTI to global problems. And I was listening intently as an educator, and I thought to myself, this is quite strategic, and she is making a lot of sense. I am Catholic. I was serving as academic advisor of Guangming College at that time. And that's why Venerable Abbess brought me there. And so I decided to study at Nantian Institute. And it really opened my eyes to the eventuality that, this is universal. I would like to disabuse your mind of the tag Buddhist. Okay? When I'm with Buddhists, I call myself a Buddhist Catholic. And when I'm with Catholics, I call myself a Catholic Buddhist. I embrace two religions for the simple reason that I found out that what I was missing out in my Catholic education in terms of deeper understanding of how to develop morality was applied by Buddhism. Why? It taught me the law of causes and conditions. It talked to me about karma and the very importance of moral accountability, which this nation's government doesn't have at all. And I attribute that to our Catholic religion, the way we were taught. We are taught about communities. They are not better than Catholics in terms of community building, in terms of commitment, in terms of sacrifice. You can see that in the Filipinos. What is lacking? Moral responsibility. But first, from the moral responsibility is accountability. Very important. And that is why the law of karma, to me, is the missing link. Because when people understand that there are causes and conditions and nothing is random, everything is cause and effect. The moment we get to understand that, then the intention or the pursuit of a better life becomes dependent on our choices. And that's why the 3 acts of goodness, well, that's our karmic accelerator, because you choose to do good, meaning harmlessness. You choose to speak good, meaning you don't harm people's reputation or you don't say harmful things to people. And then you think good, the intention and the wisdom to see what is right. And so that's what Venerable Juewei was talking about, right view, that we align our actions and our speech and our thoughts to reality. And what is reality? She was talking about emptiness. You see, that's one more thing. The concept of emptiness, the concept of non-self. We remove self-significance and self-importance from the psyche of Filipinos. We will become a much better nation, much better people, much better neighbors. Okay, so these are gaps. But my stay at Nantian opened me to the possibility that, in fact, a community of kindness, a community that is fueled by right intention and joy, is achievable. And that is why I see Nantian as my favorite home on earth. I love going back there. I went to study back and forth, and Venerable Juewei, her subject on Buddhist ethics. That's where I learned the 5 precepts, and I took the refuge on the 5 precepts, the Dharma, and the 3 gems last year as a way of my declaring to the world my affinity to Fok Wangxian. So I went beyond religion to embrace the precepts and the triple gem, because it has helped me deepen my own understanding of my own Catholic faith. I embrace both now without doubt, without question. Okay? And Venerable Juewei's subject is very interesting because it brings us to history, yeah, and then brings us to the development of Buddhism up to the present age, and then the ethics that are required. The other subject, the one that you saw, Elizabeth McDougall, a very interesting subject because we talk about Buddhist art as a tool for communication. Very interesting. And then we also took up literature, Buddhist literature. And it showed me a wealth of knowledge. Like it would bring us to the time, the actual age, Buddhism, 500 years before Christ was Buddha, right? And so when Christ was born, early Christians, all these people, religious scholars, philosophers, merchants, they were all traveling the world from India to China to all parts of Asia. And in that Silk Road, they were all meeting there. And so we have very interesting subjects like, okay, you are assigned to look at these particular caves in the mouth of Afghanistan, and you bring back yourselves to the 3rd century AD, Common Era, and you imagine 17 nationalities, 17 languages, and different kinds of occupations of people being there. And we saw it as a great center of learning, 1,000 monastics studying there. And you can imagine the Christians, the early Christians, dealing with the Buddhists who are going to India. They're all mixing together and they were discussing philosophies. And that's where my realization came that perhaps the monastic practice of Buddhism were the ones that influenced the monasticism of Christianity in Greece the very first time. Why? You look at them and you look at the Carmelites, the same. The Carmelites used to be bald. They're also discalced. They have no shoes. They have the same rituals. And the forest where they go when it is rainy season is all very, very much the same in format. Yes, and contemplation is common to both. So I had the grace of studying Carmelite spirituality that brought me to the knowledge of Buddhism because they know a bit of Buddhism is so much goes into the Carmelite practice. Um, we just call it nothingness, the emptiness because of Juan de la Cruz of nada y todo or todo y nada is very Buddhist. And that became my own, I think, life mission. I want to know the truth. I want to deepen. And I just asked my Saint Therese, bring me to the truth. And this is how I discovered Nantien. And when I went to the Carmelites the first time, I saw this big rainbow when I was with the prioress and she brought me in. And I didn't quite know what that rainbow meant. And last year when I graduated from Nantien, I didn't need the degree. I already have a master's degree. I already have a PhD. I don't need a degree, but I took up enough subjects for me to be able to graduate in master's degree. I was alone in the back hills of Nantien, and it's beautiful. There are deer roving around, and the forest is, the trees are so calming and very serene. You do your walk. I do my walk every day. And on the top of a hill, there is the lone Buddha sitting. I was alone. And in that moment, it was kind of gloomy at 4:30 in the afternoon. I saw a big rainbow. And it struck me. And I said, what does this mean? And it came to my mind. The answer, you have come full circle. Go beyond religion. See all the colors of the rainbow. They're all for all faiths, and kindness is key. Hold them together. So to me, humanistic Buddhism is universal in intent, in shared values. And we no longer attribute this is Buddhist, this is Catholic. We are moving into a time when we have to remove all labels and barriers and become fully human. And to me, that is the essence of what we're doing today. And that is why I embrace humanistic Buddhism, because it's very active and it supplies knowledge that is not easily accessible to our own faith. And there's no conflict. Okay, so
Thank
that's my
you.
bit. Thank you.
So the good news is that we do have a Shingyin Education Foundation that offers competitive scholarships, and for international students, which you qualify to be, we have scholarships in Applied Buddhist Studies and Humanistic Buddhism that you can take either here in the Philippines or fly to Australia. And the types of students that we have, the average age, I would say, is between 40 and 50 years old, and people of all different professions. So there's a difference between classes in regular universities where everybody's a dentist or everybody is going to be a lawyer. Here we have really people of all backgrounds and all religions, really. We've had Hindu priests, we've got Anglican priests, we've got Muslims in the class as well. And definitely our students have all said very good things about us. That's why they voted us as number 2 in Australia. And again, being very student-centered, this is our amazing graduates. I guess, they form the heart of who we are. So with this, I hand over to
All right, thank you so much, Venerable Juewei. We actually have 2 more graduates who might, just very briefly, because we have 10 more minutes. Rose, hoping to invite you.
In helping people suffering from mental health, actually nowadays is someone of care for myself. And I was very grateful that I got the college at UTI. And one thing which is very, very encouraging is that the diversity of culture residents. I have classmates from Bhutan, from Pakistan, from Malaysia, from Vietnam, from Singapore, from different parts of or different countries. And of course, the teachers. The teachers are very different. Actually, by the way, one of my teachers is
yeah, that's why she has to say all these good words.
All right, thank you very much, Rose. Thank you. Luisa, okay, maybe 2 minutes.
All our friends and also our UPN partners are here. We have partners, interfaith partners. I joined the Humanistic Buddhism Diploma course certificate during the pandemic. It was a time of all Zoom, not the Zoom, and Zoom. It was very challenging at first because I am not a Marathi speaker. I just I was out of school for several decades already, graduated college. So it is the experience is a whole new world for me. Actually read articles. The first time to encounter with a school scholar, first touching a school scholar, that said science direct, etc. And I was really challenging, but maybe it's worth it. And then it's almost right because we have that then. But really, and acceptation was it's the opportunity for me to learn that whole new experience. And after that, are looking at the diversity. That's what Jay said. It was fantastic. Came from different parts of the world. I had from US, from Germany, from Bhutan, Sri Lanka, and many more. So the international is really very inspiring, and we learn so much from them. So if you are into personal growth, you are an educator, you want to learn more, you want to help more people, you are a medical personal or mental, you can mental field, like a psychiatrist, doctor, and you want to improve yourself and learn more about kindness and so personal engagement in one way. And that's great, just one segment. So go for it, go for it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Luisa. And before we ask Venerable Juewei to wrap up everything, I would just like to remind everyone that we have cards here in front of you that you're welcome to get one in case you're interested to study at NTI, know more about humanistic Buddhism, or share to a friend. You're very much welcome. All right, so Venerable Juewei.
I just want to wrap up by saying thank you very much to Mage, to our alumni, and to all of you who are here. You know, humanistic Buddhism has meant different things to me in my journey. And I must say that today, in preparing for this was a slide that I just added a few minutes before I came up here, because I was asking myself, what is humanistic Buddhism to me? I think humanistic Buddhism is about together. Together. Together we suffer. Together we are challenged by whatever society gives us. But as a result, together we awaken. It's not me alone. We have to do it together with our students, with our alumni, with the communities that are around us. But what do we awaken for? To serve. AI or not. It's to help us serve the world to build a better future. Serve the world so that all this wisdom can grow into something, a legacy that we can be proud of. No matter how small, no matter how tiny, we are here to build a better future. So so we take a global perspective, meaning they must constantly stand out of whatever little, I guess, the tornado that we are facing. I often invite my students to think of standing in the eye of the tornado. Sure, there's lots of turbulence around us, but what's important is to navigate our way to a space of calmness. And that's why that pause, the mindful check-in, that little pause, whereby we can just have that space of calm, going back to our breath, and then look at the causes and conditions and see how we can be that positive cogwheel in the world. Finally, I'd just like to invite you also into a little thing that I'm doing with Buddhism.net. Buddhism.net is set up by Chek Ming Tan, who started Search Inside Yourself, a Google engineer. And what he did was he got, I guess, rich enough after his work in Google and his service through Search Inside Yourself. And now he's a Buddhist philanthropist. He's dedicating his resources towards promoting ecumenical Buddhism. So Vibe with Venerables is something that he has done, and I somehow agreed to do something with him. So if you don't mind, a very quick 2-minute video.
There once was a legendary Buddhist master called Master Xing Yun. His longtime student, Venerable Juewei, will tell you his story.
Born into poverty in rural China in 1927, his life was beset with suffering. From the Nanjing massacre in which he lost his father, through his many occasions facing death, whether in the form of debilitating illnesses or in prison. However, he has never lost sight of his mission to propagate the Dharma and let Buddhism flourish. In fact, each mishap only made him more determined to repay every little act of kindness. He selflessly built monasteries and established educational institutions for as long as there is a human need. This is how Fo Guangshan is built. From the contributions of selfless bodhisattvas who are inspired by the commitment of this monk who arrived in Taiwan with little more than his robe on his back.
How did Master Xing find the strength and wisdom to go from a life of poverty and mishap after mishap to creating one of the world's great institutions? More importantly, can we find the same strength and wisdom within ourselves? In the next Vibe with Venerable series starting in January 2026, Venerable Dr. Juewei will teach us the Sutra of the 8 realizations of a Bodhisattva. And she will show us how we can all discover diligence, wisdom, and fearlessness within us. Venerable Dr. Juewei is the director of Nantian Institute's Humanistic Buddhism Center. She is a beloved teacher and a respected scholar. She holds numerous international academic positions worldwide. And she used to be an AI researcher. So don't miss this. We'll see you soon.
That little video just came in a few minutes before the session, so I just added it. If you're interested, you're welcome to join me. I'm going to talk about the Sutra of the realizations of the eight realizations of the great beings who are bodhisattvas. And I'm going to continue on from here, talking about this modern age, the digital age, and how those ancient wisdom can still be relevant. So most important, we hope to see you at Nantian Institute sometime soon. So thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we leave, just a few announcements though. First, we would like to have a picture taking with everyone. Just stay where you're seated. We will be the one to go down, and please assist with the chairs. And then secondly, as you are waiting, we will be flashing the QR code for feedback with regards to this event. If there's anything that you want us to know, okay, please fill in the necessary questions. All right, and once again, as you guys can start to prepare, and then we have this for those who are interested to have a copy of the book entitled Cultivating Compassion. 2 authors are here, of course, my teacher, Venerable Dr. Juewei and Dr. Cecil. They're one of the authors or 2 of the authors of the book, Cultivating Compassion. There's a QR there on the desk. On your desk, and then e-journal studies on humanistic Buddhism. There's also the QR for you to be a part of everything that's been going on at the Humanistic Buddhism Center, NTI, Australia. So thank you again for being here, and we look forward to see you at NTI. Good afternoon.
Dr. Mage, maybe the last one, those who wish to enroll and apply for scholarships, just please go to nantien.edu.au and then click enroll. You will see all the scholarship conditions there, and then just follow. You download, you apply, and everything is explained there. Okay, Nantien, small letters, at nantien.edu.au. Thank you.
And if you have any questions, it's study@nantien.edu.au. But we do have those cards out there. So, and we've also got some Dharma cards. So if you're interested in some Dharma words from the Venerable Master Xing Yun, you're welcome to pick some up here. Okay, so it's photo time. These are real people, real photo, nothing artificial. Thank you, everyone. There is that?
Another exciting surprise for you. There's actually food prepared downstairs, so you're welcome to take part of it. And should you have further questions to any of the alumni and of course our teacher, Venerable Dr. Juewei, you're welcome to approach her after the snacks. And we have the giving of the certificate. So may we request Venerable Dr. Juewei to stay at the center for the distribution of the certificate that. And we, of course, invite Venerable Miao Jing and the BLIA officers to please come forward as I will read the certificate. So, BLIA Philippines, Humanistic Buddhism Center, and Fo Guangshan Philippines present this certificate of appreciation to Venerable Dr. Juewei in grateful recognition and appreciation for sharing invaluable insights, expertise, and profound wisdom as a speaker during the panel talk entitled Global Perspectives in Humanistic Buddhism, Responses to AI Risks and Challenges, Life at NTI, whose contribution has significantly enriched our understanding of applying Buddhist principles to modern life and current global issues. Given this 27th day of December 2025 at the Fo Guangshan Mabuhay Temple, Manila. Signed, Venerable Yung Kwang, Head Abbess, FGS Philippines. Okay. All right, thank you very much. And the same certificate is presented to Dr. Cecilia B. Manikan. Okay. And it reads the same. And the third certificate, I'm presenting it to myself.
Yeah, and thank you. And thank you to everyone for your 2 hours worth of attention. That's worth so much. Thank you all. Please enjoy the snacks. And please feel free to pick up any of these cards. Sure.
Hello, for our UPM partners, please come forward. Let's have a group photo